Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Annalisa and this is going to be a witchy book recommendation video. So sometimes these are books that are very obvious because they have witch in the title, and sometimes they're a little less obvious and are more based on vibes. If you'd like to see part 1 of this recommendation series, I will link that below. It was a few years ago, so I've read more witchy books since then, but some of my favorites are in that video. So first, I recently read Mamo. This is a book about a village witch who doesn't want to be one, who wants to be more of a traveling witch, and gets roped into taking care of a village because her grandma didn't take care of her funeral rites, and now her bones are scattered around the village, causing havoc. And she's asked for help by someone whose mother has been made sick by one of the bones. This is a graphic novel and I really enjoyed it. I think it's YA. If you like the same type of vibes that I like in my witchy books, which is really hard to pin down unless you've watched a lot of my recommendation videos, this was right up my alley. Basil and Oregano, which is another YA graphic novel, and it is about two magic culinary witches who are going to the same magic school, and one of them is a scholarship student and one is a rich student, and they are competing for top place or best student of each quarter against each other for various reasons, and they start having a romance. It's a fun little story, and it has the magic school vibes if that's what you're looking for. Another graphic novel, this time in middle grade, Young Hag and the Witch's Quest, and this one was a very Camelot-oriented witches. And it is also story within a story. So the whole time that the witches are on their quest, we are finding out about Camelot and about the stories of things that have happened in the past that have led to what needs to happen in the present. It has a very different illustration style than I've seen in a lot of graphic novels. So if you're into quirky illustration styles, you might like this one. And if you're into Camelot stories where Morgan Le Fay is not evil, I would recommend this one for that as well. Then the Witch Boy series, more graphic novels. This one is about a boy who is in a family where all the men are werewolves and all the women are witches, and never the other way around. And so he enjoys magic and wants to be a witch, but that's not allowed. And the first story is about that conflict mainly, and then we go on to have more stories about the witch boy and his friends. It's really great, and it's all about gender roles and how they should not be allowed to run our lives, and the havoc that that can cause when people try to force their family members to adhere to them. Then we have a comic, Season of the Bruja. This is about a young Bruja who is up against, I believe, members of the Catholic Church. I don't think it's actually the church that's being evil. I think they've been taken over by evil people, and there are beautiful illustrations, and this one was again very much the witchy vibes I wanted. I read this one a few Octobers ago, and it was exactly what I wanted for a Halloween read. Then a picture book with Little Witch Hazel that I also read during that October set of witchy reads is about a witch about this tall who hangs out with magical talking animals in her forest, and it's all about her loving and taking care of her friends and them loving her back, and it's just really, really sweet. Then let's do a few YA before we move on to adult. The Hedge Witch by Carrie Thomas. This one is about a young witch who has been sent away from her parents to live with her hedge witch grandma or aunt, one of those, to learn hedge witchery and to also get her out of the trouble, I believe, that she was in when she was at home. And she ends up making friends with other magical people, I think, who are other types of witches, and addressing a threat that has come for the small town that she lives near. And I really love plant magic, and obviously hedges are plants, and so I really like this one for the plant magic and the sweet friendships. Then The Witch and the Vampire is about a witch who falls in love with a vampire, and they were kind of in love, or at least best friends for a while, and then one of them kind of got locked away and secreted because she had turned into a vampire and was now a secret vampire. And so the witches are like the natural enemies of the vampires, and the vampires live in the forest and come out and raid and attack the witches. So things don't go over well when the witch finds out that her friend has been made into a vampire. And it's basically, as you can see from the holding hands on the cover, about their romance, and also them discovering the secrets of the forest and the secrets of the vampires and how it all works, and figuring out what's really going on. Then I think the rest of these are adult. So we have Bindle Punk Bruja, which is set during the Prohibition era, and it is also about a witch who I think runs a, what are they called? An underground bar, and meanwhile is trying to keep the fact that she's a witch a secret, and is also, I believe, passing for white in her position as owning this bar and keeping it a secret that her family is Latina, because if people found out that she was directly related to Latina people, she would not be considered white anymore. Really wonderful. Quite a few gay characters in this one. Really great 1920s vibes and really great magical vibes. Then Once and Future Witches. I thought this was really good. It is about three sisters who are all witches of different kinds, and I believe they have all kind of separated from each other relationally because at the beginning of the story, and it's kind of about them coming back together to solve the magical threat that is coming after their city, and it's about feminism, and I remember listening to it while I was mudding my brother's apartment before he moved into it. And I remember it really got me through because mudding, which is when you put sort of plastery stuff up on the drywall over the cracks to make it all flat and smooth before you put texture on, is a grueling process. Was entertaining enough to let me get through that very well. So I appreciate that. And it must have been pretty fast-paced, because if I'm doing anything boring and listening to a slightly boring audiobook, that doesn't work for me. Then we have House of Frank. This one is about a witch who has lost her powers, and she is going to the House of Frank, which is a sort of magical mortuary, to finally put her sister's ashes to rest. Our main character also sort of has chronic illness related to her magic loss. She has pain and skin issues, and it is all about her forming relationships with the various rejects slash runaways who all live at the House of Frank and help with the various parts of memorials and burials, including Frank. This was less cozy than I was looking forward to based on what I had heard about it. It's more dark, and there's a lot of grief going on and various ways of dealing with it, and discussion about healthy and unhealthy ways of dealing with grief. And I felt parts of it were a little bit repetitive around the middle 100 pages. But in the end, I thought it was pretty good. So I gave it, I think, 3.5 to 4 stars. My cat is jumping up on my knee and demanding pets. And then we have Rust in the Root, which I don't think the magical people in this book call themselves witches, but they have plant magic. At least the main character and several of the characters around her do. So I consider that to be witchy. And it's very fallish, and the cover is very fallish, and it's beautiful. The vibes are very autumnal. The monsters and the things that you fight are the types of things that you would consider witches would be fighting. So with all of that, I put it in this category. I also just wanted to mention it because I really like the book. It is about a black woman and her mentor who are part of a government organization and are doing kind of quests for that organization, and meanwhile discover an evil plot and have to figure out a way to work with their other friends and defeat the plot. And it's a lot about studying history to figure out how evil has been defeated in the past so that you can use those same tactics to defeat it now, because the bad guys are also repeating their old tactics. So if you find out what defeated them in the past, you can do it again. And I also like the multimedia aspect of it. There's like newspaper articles and photos and stuff as inserts. That was Sam. If you would like to leave an emoji, how about a broom? Or if there is a witch, which there might be in the emojis, you can leave that as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!